Hey guys, I'm Amber,
And I'm Patty.
and welcome back to another episode of Chromosomes and Chaos.
Two moms, two perspectives, and one badass podcast.
All right, today we are talking about expectations of having a child, unlearning those expectations we set for ourselves because,
The things we had to unlearn.
yes, after having a child with Down syndrome, because I love this topic because when we got Pierce's diagnosis, and Patty will give her perspective on her diagnosis too, which I think is super interesting of how we both perceive this. But Tyler and I were both young. We were both very athletic growing up. And so when we found out we were having a boy and we were 28, 27, we envisioned this boy following in his dad's footsteps of being this quarterback that had, all this athleticism going for him, and envision, big dreams for him before we even knew who he was.
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot, of these expectations that we put on our kids before we even know them.
Yeah.
And I love this topic because it's made me not have those expectations anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And when we were sitting here talking, it was like your expectations were different of what you wanted for Addie or what you thought Addie was going to be.
I think it was just because we had experienced so many losses, right? And, for those in the, two mom, same sex community, we know for right away, right? I've heard it often say for heterosexual couples, straight couples, when they get pregnant, you don't find out until you're already 6 weeks,
right.
8 weeks, 10 weeks, further on. We know from day one, right?
Yeah.
And so we had 4 miscarriages before we got pregnant with Addie. 1, 2, and 2 of them were miscarriages, and 2 of them were further along, but we had never graduated. So you just know right away.
Yeah.
And because we had already experienced that loss multiple times, when Lisa got pregnant with Addie, when we got her diagnosis, I'm like, cool, that's it? Literally, you could have told me she was going to be Elphaba and Green from Wicked. And I would have been like, cool. We're
Sign
still
me
going to
up.
be, sign me up. We're still going to be moms. We're having a baby.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, it was an awful experience because of the way it was delivered and, all of those things. But I was still like, there's nothing you could say that would be change my mind. I just want to be a mom.
And obviously we got over it. So when he was a birth diagnosis, we got over it quick. But then at that realization was why do he could have been in the band. He could have done whatever he wanted. You know what I mean? Why do we
Down syndrome or not?
Right. Why do we set these expectations on these kids? But I think it's human nature to do that, right? And they come from the same anatomy as you and your partner, and you just assume these things. And we were, we got him, and we're super blessed and lucky. But then it took the expectation of our other kids away, which I liked, because I wasn't going to say that she was going to do this or he was going to do this or this one was going to do this. Yeah. It kind of just washed it out to be whoever they become is going to be amazing, and we're going to support them in whatever they want to do.
Yeah. I think the other layer of that is yes, we had some of that because of Addie and the Down syndrome diagnosis and the experience, just let them be. I think there's also a layer of that just being in the LGBTQ community, the expectations, just be who you are, right? There are no expectations on you to be somebody that you're not, right? And that is instilled, I think, in such, as we navigated our own coming out and, living in society and things like that.
Absolutely.
That we always knew we wanted to be like that with our own children. You get to be who you, yes, we will hopefully guide and provide and, be the cheerleaders in your life on your journey. But at the end of the day, we both came from softball families.
Right.
I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say it's a little hard. I know that softball is not something that's probably going to be in Addie's future. Right. And there are things, having 2 boys and Addie, having a daughter to and this is where I caught myself up, was she can still get married. She still can do things. Is it going to be a traditional way that most moms with their daughters. Probably not, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But again, who's to say it would have been any different if we had a neurotypical child,
Right.
right?
Right. And that's interesting because I grew up in a small town,
Yeah.
25,000,
Yeah.
but I would say more on the conservative side,
Uh-huh.
right? So like you didn't see that a lot. And back in the day, I mean, it's become so
Yeah.
much more, people are more open
Mhm.
about it and stuff. But like back in the day, living in that environment, if you guys were there, it would feel uncomfortable and you'd have to, yeah, that makes sense of how you felt that earlier, even on without kids versus right when your child was
Well, I
born or
think
you got
that's
the diagnosis and stuff.
when you talk about like representation matters, I think representation matters for Addie when she sees other people with Down syndrome. But it's also why, on social media or in real life, like I don't hide the fact that I have a wife or
Mhm.
we're a two-mom family because when I was younger, I never saw anybody that resembled what my family looks like now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
There were not other,
Oh, yeah. No.
and so
No.
all the things.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's different because you just
Yeah. And miscarriages, I mean, that, yes, me too. Me, absolutely. And meet people wherever they're at, but the miscarriage thing makes sense too, because knock on wood,
Yeah.
I haven't had to go through any of that. It was like we tried, we got pregnant, it was good, and then hit by the diagnosis. So you just, then I know you've had one hell of a ride.
It's not okay.
Yeah. It's your journey and you've learned to overcome those things and make you where you are today and things like that. But yeah, it was kind of interesting talking about that of how we perceived both of those, maybe a little bit differently because of our experiences.
I'm like, cool, we're having a baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm excited. And that was also different for Lisa, right? Because she was the one that was carrying. And so she had to work through some stuff. The guilt, was it my fault? Did I do something?
Yep,
those things. But at the end of the day, the expectation was just a little different, I think. But there are plenty of things that I've had to unlearn during our journey with Down syndrome.
Same. But it's also like, it's so weird because I think about how, and this could be a whole nother topic of like, Pierce gives me purpose in my life.
Oh,
I feel like I was called on to take care of somebody, to like the depths of my soul. Because I'm like, how bored would I be if I didn't have all these appointments to go to, or someone that just needs me so much? Like I'm such a caregiver. Like I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to go like.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I was in nursing school.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, I got into nursing school and went to the. I had to go to Sioux Falls because we were in Vermilion. So Sioux Falls is like 45 minutes away, but that was the hospital that we had our rotations at or clinicals at. So I had to drive at 4 a.m. all the way to Sioux Falls to be at the hospital by 5, and then I have to come home at 5, go to practice and like get my workout in. And it just like, and then I was on a floor with like all surgeries, like knee surgeries and like just older people. And they were so negative and so crabby and so mean that I'm like, I'm just trying to take care of you. Like I can't do this. And then I'd quickly learn I don't like needles and blood. I mean, get into nursing school. Hopefully I'm not the only one that learned that far into the process. But when you're like in it and you're working with things, I'm like, I can't do this.
No.
So then my advisor was like, well, exercise science, because you have plenty of like credits that you've taken towards anatomy, physiology, and you can still help people, but it's in the health and fitness. I'm like,
okay,
yes.
That makes sense.
So, but no, I feel like I'm just like born to be this caregiver. And so sometimes I think about that. I'm like, I am born to do this. I do love this.
A good friend of ours, when we got Addie's diagnosis and we had shared it with everybody, was like, Addie could not be born
to a better family.
To a better family, to the two most perfect people. And at the time I was like, I didn't know, but I do get it because like I will be the best mother to her. We will advocate for her.
Yes, do go to the ends of the earth. And unfortunately, some kids aren't born into families like that, right? And it's just, but yeah,
there's
I think
nothing that I wouldn't
But
do.
again, we've talked about this. If people listening to this or any of my friends had a kid with extra needs, they would do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think about that a lot. I'm like, I feel like this was like what I was made to do.
It's interesting because a long time ago, pre-kids, all of it, I used to work for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Iowa, and I was running at the time. And I don't know if there was a girl maybe that had Down syndrome at the school that I was at or something, but I actually started following the rods running for orphans with Down syndrome.
Okay.
Right. way before, I think this was before like Lisa and I even started dating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like I had started following them and I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to run for children with Down syndrome, for orphans and things like that. And then just kind of like that full circle moment. I
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
with Down
Isn't that
syndrome.
crazy?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like meant to be.
It's meant to be. Meant to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we came up with 5 different
Yeah.
topics or things that we've had to unlearn after having a child with Down syndrome. So we thought we aligned with these. So
Perfection.
the perfection.
Yes.
So I would say you're more of a perfectionist than I probably am in a lot of aspects of life.
you think
I
so?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the unlearning is that perfection equals happiness.
Or maybe I was more of a perfectionist until
Yeah.
I've had to unlearn to not be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's the unlearning though,
Mhm.
that perfection doesn't necessarily equal happiness. That it had to follow a certain plan or milestones. And I think when Addie was first born, I was like, oh,
she's going to hit
Richard,
these.
we are
Yes.
going to do
Yeah.
this. I'm going to do everything I can. She's going to be XYZ. And then, you know,
And we're going to prove everyone wrong that she's
Yes.
going to overcome these faster than
Right.
what standards are.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful. Like, I think we've talked about this too, is like social media was just coming. But if I had all these kids to compare to on social media when Pierce was like, because he didn't walk till he was 2.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have saw a 1-year-old with Down syndrome walking, I would have been like, well, how come Pierce isn't doing it? Right. But I think after AEA came in and stuff, and I realized, hey, that's okay. Like, it's going to be on Pierce's time.
Right.
And he's going to be able to, eventually he's going to be able to walk.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to follow the standards of walking. And I think we both got lucky of having our first with Down syndrome.
Yes,
because if it was the second or third,
Cooper first. Yeah,
right? Because you would think that they were way far behind.
Right.
But I'm like, well,
That's true.
Pierce just gets to go at his own time. But it's dropped.
Just got all of those baby moments so much longer with Addie. But that
Yeah.
when the boys came along, like WTF,
Right.
You're whatever.
Yeah, your little boys now. It's crazy.
But I think the perfection and the timelines and the structure and all of that stuff, it's like your value, the value that you bring is not equated to your ability.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
hitting those milestones or any of those things.
Yeah.
And unlearning that, happiness is a hug. It's
Yeah.
a smile.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. And they make you realize that.
oh,
Like, that's what
100%.
matters more than anything.
So it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, like, oh, it means so much
Mhm.
because Addie does not say, I love you.
Mhm.
Right. The boys, when you say, I love you too. Like,
So
a million times.
but she can say it.
Yeah.
She just doesn't.
She just doesn't. Right?
Interesting.
I'll say, I love you. And she'll say, thank you.
Really?
Right. And so I remember the first time, and we were at our old house, and our Ring camera that was on the garage caught the interaction. And I was so thankful that it did, because like I was leaving and I'd already gone down the back porch and I was in the driveway, and she come out and she just screamed, Mom, I love you. And I was like, oh my God. And she was probably like 4.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, she was older. And then she said it recently. She came and gave me a hug and told me that she loved me. And it was like, it was one of the nights that we had like musical chairs, musical beds. Like I had put one kid to sleep, and I ended up downstairs on the recliner. I'd just gotten back to sleep, and Addie comes in. She's like, Mom, cuddle. I'm like, yes, Addie. And she was, Mom, I love you. And I'm like, oh, so when it does happen though, like it is a thing.
And Pierce, he's starting to say it now. So at first it was like he couldn't get those words out.
Yes.
But now that the other two say it a lot. But then when same thing when he says it, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I feel bad for the other two. Love you too. I love you too. Yes. Go to bed. But yeah, it does make things more special. But now that they say it more, he says it, and it melts my heart. But and even with the other two, like, that just made me realize if they hit milestones later too, it's fine. It doesn't matter. So it's just carried on from him to the other kids that are just like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Life doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect.
Yeah. And it's, with the boys, like Cooper's at that age now, like he starts basketball next week, right? And, he did like Pee-wee football and things like that. And, growing up for us, it was, you had softball.
Yeah.
That's what you played. You got your first softball glove when you turned 5.
Right.
And I just want them to experience all the things. And if sports are your thing, cool. If science is your thing, cool.
Yeah.
Like really just, what makes you happy? Because you will learn great things doing all the things.
So if you have a newly baby with Down syndrome, it's try to not put the pressure on yourself for them to achieve milestones at certain times and not compare because they'll all get there. And then when they get there, then you're like, I wish you weren't walking. I wish you weren't.
True. Well, that's the other thing that we put as, the things to unlearn is that, milestones happen on a timeline.
Mhm.
Oh no, they don't happen on any timeline.
Mhm.
They happen on Addie's timeline and when Addie decides. And sometimes I tell you what, I don't know what the light bulb moment is or what happens when she gets it. She just gets it.
Yeah.
We spent the entire summer trying to ride that damn bike, right? And she just wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it, wouldn't do it. And then she got her scooter for her birthday, which was in July. And she was like, I'm done with the bike. I love this scooter. And then one day I came home and she was just riding her bike.
I think that's all typical kids too, though,
Something
right?
clicks,
It's like
right?
it just clicks one day. It's
There's
like, oh,
something.
then they just do it.
And they just do it in their own time, in
Yeah.
their own way.
And that was one thing with Lynn Pierce is so chill that like I can't even remember how many containers of these little puffs we went through.
Mhm.
And half the time the dogs would eat them because it's like he would look at the little puffs and I'd be like, "Okay, crawl over here." And he would just look at it and look at me and be like, "No, like I'm good. Like I don't need to crawl any faster than you want me to crawl." And in that moment, there's no getting him to do something he doesn't want to do. Like he's fine.
No.
He's not crying because you have to have some sort of motivation like
Yeah.
to go do those things, right?
Yeah.
And when they're super laid back, it's hard to
Mhm.
be like, just step your feet one at a time.
Yeah.
But got him a little walker and then he was using that walker for a few months. And then all of a sudden one day he just started walking,
You're like,
so
okay,
it's,
here we are.
but it was way later than
Yeah.
a year later.
There were things that Addie did super early, and then there were things Addie never did, and then there were things that just took some more time. Like she never crawled. She was not a crawler.
Same
She butt
person either.
scooted.
And now it's like the potty training thing, right? And I don't want to compare, but I'm like at the end of 2026, he has to be potty trained. Like, but then it's been a thing of his getting knee surgery, so I don't want to start potty training because he can't be weight bearing. So it's a blessing in disguise that he's not, because then how the hell are we going to move him from a wheelchair to the toilet to?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, 2026 is like his year of health. That we're just going to get all this figured out, even if it's just not going number 2,
right?
Just number 1. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be good for everybody. But it's like, I try not to compare because I think about a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't think that he's ready because cognitively they have to be ready.
Yeah.
And it's like some kids are just more cognitively there versus others, and that's okay. But same with typical kids. It's like sometimes they get potty trained early, sometimes it's, so it's one of those things that, timelines, it's so hard not to compare and milestones. But at the end of the day,
potty training for Trice, who just turned 3, has not been successful. So we will
you're
try
right.
it again.
Right.
Yes.
And it can be very detrimental if you're just so, but you just got to take a break from it and then come back to it. Take a break, come back to it.
I know he's ready. And sometimes it's an us thing, but he'll tell me sometimes, like, Mom, I got to go potty. And I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yep.
It's a us thing for sure.
Yeah.
Timelines. I mean, you just got to give everybody the grace to do the things.
But when they do hit those milestones, it's a freaking celebration.
Oh my God.
Because
they just call them inch stones. We had inch stones, like just standing up, weight bearing.
Yeah.
Walk.
Like the first time he said mama, I'm like, oh my gosh. And now I think about the other two.
I can't even remember what Addie said recently, but it was like a 5-word sentence or a 6-word sentence. And both Lisa and I were like, Addie, I really like the sentence you just said. And it was great. Just trying to
encourage it more.
Yeah.
But then it's also hard because you don't want to do that too much because it makes the others feel like,
well, right now we're struggling with Cooper tries to talk for Addie sometimes. And I'm like, Cooper, I love you. Thank you. You're a great brother.
Let's let her speak.
Yeah. She needs to be able to do that. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
What's next?
Limitations define potential. So I remember going on that rabbit hole of when we got the diagnosis in the hospital, just searching Down syndrome, like what's it going to look like? And then all these things that they're not going to be able to do. They can't do this. They can't do this. So then you just fall down that vicious cycle of they're not going to be able to do anything. And so kind of overcoming that and unlearning that there's a lot of things, great things that they can do. No, you're good. You're good.
I think potential, it just kind of goes back to like your worth is not defined by, you know,
A diagnosis.
a diagnosis. And it's not defined by, what you can and can't do, right? Um, there are like that inherent, like you as a human being are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
You have value,
Mm-hmm.
no strings attached,
Right.
right? And so I think there's a lot of that. Sorry, I think I had my water went down
Oh,
the
your
wrong pipe.
protein water.
My
And if that
protein
goes
water.
down the wrong pipe, you're SOL.
I know
Because
that's what's
it's
happening.
like,
Yeah, I'm silently aspirating right now. It's fine.
don't do that. We can pause. No.
Uh, I just think that Addie has shown me over and over and over again that she can accomplish things in her own time and in
Mm-hmm.
her own way, and
Mm-hmm.
it may not look the same as other people. And there are things that she won't accomplish, right? And that's fine too.
Yeah.
Most recently we switched over from the core curriculum to essential elements in her education.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the best thing that we ever did because Addie can do those things.
Right.
And she is doing those things. And it is challenging for her, and that's great. And she's rising to that challenge. But it's not something that's completely over her head where she has to feel like she doesn't belong. Right.
Yeah. And that's where the behaviors stem from,
Yeah.
right? Is if it's
Yes,
too
yes.
complex, there's so much to it that they have behavior issues because they just can't comprehend what's going on. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not to say she'll never be able to. And I love that they do what is it after school? So it's 2 years after or 3 years after high.
Oh yeah, the
high
12 program.
12 plus
Yeah.
program, because that's life skills, right? Ultimately, we want them to be able to be independent when it comes to their life skills and things like that.
Well, and that's the great thing about the essential elements curriculum is that there's more flexibility. I don't need Addie to know algebra. I need her to know time and money and conversational things like society focused things.
Yep. 100%.
I can't tell you the last time I used algebra. I don't need it.
Geometry. Well, maybe geography a little, but yeah, like geometry. When are you gonna? I mean, yeah, just the skills like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd rather focus on those life skills.
Which I appreciate.
Independence looks one way.
Oh, it does not. I think that, we just briefly talked about this in another, episode, but I've been trying to really put my money where my mouth is and do the things that I advocate for, right? And I use this kind of strategy in a lot of things. I use it in my marriage. I use it in my work. I use it in my leadership. I use it, like the things, like, am I willing to do the things that I'm either asking other people to do or that if I am mad at Lisa about something, I always pause and I think about, do I do the things that I'm mad at her for not doing? Right. And so it's very much like I talk about independence and opportunities for independence for her, but am I actually giving her the opportunity to do those things? Right. And I'll never forget when a good friend of ours, we were talking about helicopter parenting, and she goes, Patty, you're the epitome of a helicopter parent. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, no. She goes, oh, yeah, you are. And in my defense, I was like, and I have a child with a disability and I had a son that died, right? So I think that there's like another layer of like I don't want to say safety. I just want to know where my
security
children are.
It's more
There's
of
a security of, do I know where my children are?
From underlying trauma. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Yes.
I mean, it's there. And, am I giving her opportunities for independence, right? And so there has been times this summer where I didn't know where she was. And I was like, I knew she was next door, and that's okay. I didn't need to go check on her every 5 minutes. I didn't need to. There's also this level of, I also feel safe with her there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Do I feel comfortable and safe wherever they are?
Yeah.
She had her first sleepover and it went fantastic. And I think Lisa and I were like, what happens if she wakes up in the middle of the night? What happens if this? What happens if that? And she killed it. Like, she was great and had so much fun. We did Girl Scout overnight camp. There were, she's doing, just actual Girl Scouts right now. And I don't go to the meetings. I drop her off just like everybody else does.
That's awesome.
And so just giving her those opportunities that her neurotypical peers have, I think has been a big one.
And I think I fail at this to some extent of, I know that I need to give him that, right? But like in the mornings when it's a cluster, I'm like, here, I'll just put your socks and your shoes in your pants and your shirt on,
Mhm.
right? And then as far as like he'll do sleepovers at family's house, like
Yeah.
the mother-in-law, whatever, grandma and grandpa, but never like even if a friend asked for him to come over, it's just because we're still working on potty training,
Yeah.
right? And I'm still always worried about, well, if
Mhm.
he goes to the bathroom, I don't want them
Right.
to do that. And that I feel like he can't communicate it, but is he embarrassed of that,
Right.
right? Is there something
Yeah, you
that
don't
and
wanna put
I
them in a
never wanna put him in
situation. Yeah.
a situation
Understandable.
where he feels uncomfortable and can't communicate that.
Yeah.
So I think once we get over this hump, there's gonna be a lot more opportunities that I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Yes, be as independent as
Mhm.
possible." But I think, like I said, sometimes I fail of just doing things for him too much because I can get it done faster.
Right. You gotta
And
build in
yeah,
the on both ends,
yeah.
right?
However, I know there's potential and possibility.
Mhm.
It's not like it's gonna be like this forever.
Yeah. Well, I also think independence can look like and I've thought about when is the right time to bring Addie into this. Like, when does she get a say in her life,
Mhm.
right? And I think she's still a little young, but like, does she have a voice? Like, like when it comes to education and
Mhm.
the things that she wants to do, or is it all just stuff that we want her to do that we
Mhm.
are implementing for her? And so as she gets a little bit older, like I want her to have a voice in the decisions that are being
Yeah.
made about.
Pierce will be like, "I don't wanna go to school, I wanna stay home all day," which we'll cross that bridge when it comes. I just wanna go to social hour, the social things of
Yeah.
school.
Like, does she have the opportunity to make choices? And that's why I give her choices. Like, in the morning. Like, what do you want to wear?
Mhm.
Like, what is your personality? Like, is this your style?
Yeah.
What do you want to wear? What do you
Yep.
want to do? But I think she would be a princess every day if we let.
Princess dress.
Sometimes, yes. Um, and that'll change as she gets older, hopefully.
Mhm.
And I want her to
Yeah.
be actively participating in the
Right.
decisions for her.
And that's like month after month, I realize Pierce's independence and what he wants, right? Because sometimes he'll like now be particular on what chicken he wants. Or
Chicken nuggets.
if I put a shirt on him that he doesn't like, he's starting to say, no, not that, like, not that, no, So he is becoming more independent,
Good.
different seasons of life
Yeah.
too, which is nice to
Yeah.
see. But again, you can't force independence. It's not
Nope.
one of those things that you can force to some extent.
Mm-mm.
But always support and encourage,
Yeah.
that independence for sure.
I think the
So,
other thing we had to unlearn is just control. But I think
yeah.
you also have to unlearn control in a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't control all the outcomes.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I think learning about failure is probably the biggest thing that I ever learned in my life and recognizing like I am not gonna like win at everything
Mhm.
and that failure, controlling outcomes. Because you learn so much, you either
Yeah.
win or you fail forward and you
Mhm.
learn.
Right.
It's a learning opportunity. And there are outcomes that I can't control with her. And that's okay. We're
Mhm.
learning. We're trying to, do the behavior therapy thing and strategies that work and don't work. And but I can't control a lot of things with the boys too.
Right.
Again, so many of the things we've had to unlearn reflective of the boys too.
And I think my control went out the window when he was born, honestly. Like, that just made me
Yep,
realize
done.
we can't
We're done.
control things
No,
in our
yeah.
life. You cannot,
Yeah.
right? And so many things about Pierce's diagnosis have stemmed into my business,
Mhm.
to my health. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of things have just opened my eyes to a different world, I guess, of control
Yeah.
and all these things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And until you go through it, it's hard to understand.
Very
But
much so.
it's just interesting that I don't know. Like it's I don't know. We go
I'm
through a lot and it's helped me overcome so much in my life
oh yeah.
about hardships, hard work,
Yeah.
sacrifices, all these things
Yeah.
that teach us so much.
Watching how hard it is for Addie to do some of the things that come very naturally and easy to the boys
Mhm.
has humbled me in a lot of different
Mhm.
ways. And I think Addie is also at the stage where she's realizing how easy it is for the boys to do some things. And it's frustrating for her,
Mhm.
which is understandable. And I really have no idea where I was going with that. But
Just
there was, yeah,
control like
we
yeah.
just can't control those
Yeah.
outcomes.
Yeah.
I'm very much a give me all the information and how do we move forward.
Mhm.
And so instead of trying to control the outcome, it's just like, where are there opportunities to move forward? How do we to move forward in some of these
Mhm.
areas?
Yeah, so we went through all 5 of them, right? Did we?
I mean, it's definitely changed the way I see the world in certain
Oh, yeah.
areas, for,
And I never was, like, a negative, like,
Mm-mm.
mean person by any means.
Mm-mm.
I always had a big heart and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's made me become so much more empathetic to people and life
Right.
and families and
All the
dynamics
things.
and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? That I think maybe I would have had. I think if
Mm.
at the end of the day, I'm grateful for this opportunity for my kids to see empathy and
Compassion,
inclusion and all
inclusion.
that. And
Yeah.
I think they would have came from a family that was already like that.
Yeah.
But even when we went bowling, my aunt was there and she's like, I just love how good they are with Pierce. And it
Mhm.
just made me think like in all their classes, there's kids with IEPs and special needs, but they always go to those kids
Yeah.
because they see the good in that versus like
Yeah.
sitting there staring
They
at
know
them,
what it's
judging
like
them.
to support. They know what it's like to, be a
Yeah.
friend and be kind and
Yeah.
all of those
And at home, I
things.
have those conversations if they need friends like you,
Yeah.
right? Like just how Pierce needs a friend like you, they need friends like you. And I don't think it's not that I never would have accepted it
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for Pierce. I just never would have brought it up or it never would have been a topic of awareness, I guess, because I would have been so much more naive on what a classroom looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what it looks like because we go to all these IEPs. Like
Right.
we see him in a classroom setting and how he can be like by himself, you know. And I just went and volunteered for the winter party last week. And the way that the classroom just shows up for him
Yeah.
and helps him
Yeah.
just from all walks of life,
Yes.
it left me feeling so full because I'm like, and granted, the teachers help foster those
Oh, yeah.
relationships
We're
and
so
that
lucky.
inclusion, and we are very, very lucky.
So incredibly lucky.
But it was just really eye opening to be like, and we talk about this, and maybe we haven't, but like back in the day when I grew up, like kids on an IEP, there wasn't probably even IEPs. They were in a different room.
Yeah.
If you had behavior stuff, Down syndrome, a disability, you were in a different room and you didn't see them all day.
Yeah.
But now, just for I think it's opening our kids' eyes, and you'll find those ones that are more tenderhearted that come over, and you'll find the ones that are just like, I'm good, but I'm going to be kind still. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be an asshole, right?
It's interesting
And
how,
it's
like,
just so cool.
one of the teachers is like, everybody wants to be Addie's buddy, right?
Mhm.
Everybody, like the kids that do have sometimes have like, are doing naughty things or, causing trouble. They don't do that when they're around Addie. They don't do that when they get to be Addie's buddy. They don't do that because it's like they want to be good for her with her. And it's just crazy.
I make that change, right?
Yeah, there's an associate that would tell me all the time. She goes, I just love having your daughter in our school. And there needs to be more kids with disabilities in our school.
Yeah.
Because everybody learns. Everybody is a better human being by having someone like Addie in their world.
It does. And I feel for the parents who have kids with like autism that look the same as everybody else.
It's not visible.
It's not visible. And I'm so thankful that Pierce has a visibility of like a disability or something different, right? But these poor kids with autism, it's like I could see how peers could be mean to them because they don't understand because they don't look different at a certain age, right? Because we're at that age where we don't judge off of like, I don't know how to explain this. Like it's more behavior versus looks kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so I'm always just super thankful that like kids take Pierce on. But I think it's harder in some of these other experiences when you have a kid with autism or ADHD that's just super hyper and maybe more behavior lashes, that kids aren't as welcoming to that or understanding or caring or empathetic. And
like,
it just
how do
breaks
you
my heart.
challenge-
Yes. Because
It's
I
hard to
always tell
challenge thoughts when they're that young. right?
absolutely.
And you can do what you can to say, we're kind to all, we welcome all. And with our kids, there is a visual.
Yes. Yes. Right. And I do a good job of letting Ivy and Porter know that, right? Like not everybody looks different that has a disability or anything.
Absolutely.
And you understand that their brains just work different.
Yeah.
And if they're hyper, then just still be a good friend.
Yeah.
And all those things of how can we just do this whole inclusion thing, not just Down syndrome inclusion, but all the things out there, so, but it's definitely changed my life. And I know Pierce has friends in his life. It's impacted them and their families. And, yeah. Maybe if I wasn't for Pierce, I'd be just walking around like the Grinch all the time. I don't know.
No, but it is interesting. I follow some social media accounts, and that are very vocal about their child with a disability has completely changed their outlook on society, on
Mm-hmm.
life, whether they came from a very privileged background and lifestyle and had a very specific, um, you know, thought process,
Mm-hmm.
and how having a child with a disability has challenged every like fiber of who they are,
Right.
and has completely changed, their community, their perspective,
They're
their
unlearning of all the
all
things
the
that
things,
they.
right, that have either been taught to them or that they had assumptions on or preconceived
Mm-hmm.
notions on.
Mm-hmm.
Because and this is true, I think, for things outside of disability, right? Because I talk about
Right.
this in the food insecurity world a lot. Every single person is one life experience away from needing support, from needing financial help, from needing a food pantry, whether you had a stroke or a medical thing or
Mm-hmm.
a job loss or something. But too often, until it is you or a loved one that that is experiencing that hardship, and you don't change your perspective, you don't
Yes.
change,
Right. Mm-hmm.
like, no, people who use food pantries that have no income, they're homeless and don't
Yeah.
deserve it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Until your loved one or you,
Or
or
impacted by somebody that you know close
yes,
enough to
yes,
make you have this
yes,
change. Yep.
correct.
Yep.
But,
Yeah. And it's super interesting how it all like has unfolded. Because I
mhm,
mean, my Facebook and social media is all because of Pierce. Like people
mhm,
love seeing him,
yep,
but because they know me, so now they know someone else. But then they buy the shirts and they do all
yeah,
the things to support.
yeah,
And had they not known Pierce, there
right.
wouldn't be as much support and inclusion. And that's just how it
I'm
all
sure about this,
has that
but
trickle
every year,
effect.
World Down Syndrome Day, I go in and I talk to Addie's class. And so
Mm-hmm.
she's in third grade. So we did it in kindergarten first,
Mm-hmm.
second, for some, this will be their fourth year having me come into their class. And last year when I did it, it was so crazy to go in. It's like the first question, it's like, hi, did anybody know who I am? Blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. My first question is usually like, who in here knows what Down syndrome is? And now they all raise their hand.
Yeah.
They're like, it's when you have an extra copy of the 21st chromosome. Yes, you are right. Because
Mm.
they know,
Yeah.
right? And they can answer all the
Yeah.
questions. And
Yeah.
we talk about differences and,
Mm-hmm.
the chromosomes and genes and how they make you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And, how Addie has an extra one
Yeah.
and all of the things. And it's so great that the kids are so curious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and I always, send that letter home at the beginning of the year with parents. Like, I'm hard to offend,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Please ask all the
And I
questions.
think
Kids are
people, and
curious.
if they do ask a question, it's not out of like
No,
despite
no.
or I don't know what word I'm
Yeah,
looking for, but it's always out of curiosity. And I always take those questions from a place of heart
yeah,
before I put my defense up.
right.
To be like, no, they're probably asking this, especially little kids. I mean, what
Yes.
did I see a meme that said something about who do you want to get a compliment for? Who's the best person? And it's like a 5-year-old because
Yeah.
they just always say what's on their mind.
Yep. I love it.
And because they're
Ask me all
so
the
curious and
questions.
yes, and it's
I would rather people ask me the question than avoid Addie or our
mhm.
family
Mhm.
or, not engage.
Mhm. Yeah.
Please ask
Yeah.
me all the questions.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're always
Awesome.
unlearning.
Always,
It's a
always
good thing.
unlearning. But we've unlearned a lot in the last 9 years, and
Oh
it's been
my
great.
gosh.
It's
It
been great.
is. It's been
Yeah.
a roller coaster
Yeah.
of all good.
But if there's anything we didn't touch on, guys, that you've had to unlearn, please
Yeah.
comment below. Also, we would love it if you could like and subscribe and share this podcast with anybody that you know might benefit from it.
Yeah.
I know in 2026, we're looking to make a big impact on those in the Down syndrome or disability
Big
community.
goals.
So we would love to just get word out. And sometimes it's nice just to hear from people who are experiencing something similar to you. So bye, guys.